If things were different, Bobby Marshall, Maceo Breedlove, Ray Dandridge, and Double Duty Radcliffe would be household names. But that's not how it turned out. Sometimes the ghosts of our past are hidden. Sometimes we think we know all about them and don't need to pay attention anymore. The story of African American baseball in Minnesota has elements of both. The first thing to know, in 1942, we had a Negro League team here for a whisper of a second. The team was called the Minneapolis-St. Paul Gophers. The second thing to know is that there was a long tradition of black ball teams in the state for decades before then.
Some great baseball players, and not everybody was great, but there were some great baseball players that we just have no idea how good they were.
In the early 1900s, well before major league teams were a force to be reckoned with, the best sports in these parts were played by the University of Minnesota Gophers. When local black baseball players at the time came up with a terrific team, they named themselves the St. Paul Colored Gophers. One of the stars of that early era was Bobby Marshall.
Bobby Marshall was a great athlete from Minneapolis. He attended Central High School, played a number of sports, including hockey, football, baseball. Played football for the Minnesota Gophers in the early part of the 20th century. I believe the first black player on the Gophers, their first All-American. And he later went on to play baseball professionally. He was on a team called the St. Paul Colored Gophers that played from about 1907 to 1910 and was involved in a big series that the Colored Gophers had in 1909 against a team from Chicago, the Chicago Leland Giants. It was billed as the World's Colored Championship Series, and the St. Paul Colored Gophers won it. Bobby Marshall had some big hits in it. Well regarded as being an athlete, and probably one because of his color. Never got the opportunities that many others would have had. Not as well known as he could have been had he gotten those opportunities. If not for the color barriers and the things like that, his name would be more prominent than it is.